Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Shanty Sessions live stream episode. I don't know, what are we on?
I think this is 17, although it says 15 of both of us.
Oh, is it? Okay, I don't know what it is, but it's there's quite a few we've had anyway. So hope you're well. Hope you're tuning in. If you're not, we're just talking to ourselves. But as you know, we're live on YouTube now as well, not just Facebook, but YouTube as well. So we can see a few comments already there from people. Let us know you're there. It doesn't matter what number we're on. We're here again. We won't go away, and we're going to keep singing shanties and talking about the provenance of where they were sung. And in particular, we have a kind of a preoccupation with Lowestoft and Suffolk and East Anglia, and but obviously they are sung all over the world, and now and again we pick up a Mondegreen or a version of one of the songs that has been sung with particularly different lyrics relating to Canada or Scotland or somewhere else.
Now, we can see that there's a few people joining us, and they're doing exactly as we would love them to do. They're commenting on the thread and letting us know what they think of tonight's session. If we could ask you to go one step further, just one step further, either on our YouTube channel or on this Facebook page, if you were able to click share, we would thank you so much.
Yeah, we would.
We really would. So anybody that's clicking share or having one of these watch parties that I hear so much about, we would be so grateful. Now, we should just say again, Stephen?
That sounds a bit fancy, a watch party.
Yeah, one of them their watch parties. Don't know what they're all about, but I can't wait to see one. Now, as Stephen said, we are preoccupied a little bit with Lowestoft. The reason is our lovely choir, the Rogues Shanty Chorus, is an authentic fishing choir based in Lowestoft. Now that, for anybody that doesn't know the UK or Lowestoft, that is the most easterly town in the whole of our lovely country. It celebrates the music of fishermen and seafaring communities, and to do that we sing sea shanties and maritime-themed songs as part of a wider creative arts project called the Unique Coastal, Cultural and Musical Heritage of Waveney. Now, this is the science bit, as they say, or the boring bit, maybe. But just to give you a little bit more information about that, we celebrate the associated heritage of the fishing industry in North Suffolk, of which Lowestoft is a part. To do so, we have been lucky enough to be funded by the People's Health Trust, part of the Active Communities Programme. Now, they've been funding us for a little while now, and that would involve our regular fortnightly sessions at the Seagull Theatre in Pakefield. But they've gone one step further to ensure that we can still engage with our lovely people, our members, our new followers on the Facebook page since we started these lockdown sessions. They've been able to fund us to make sure that we can keep this going as a weekly event so far, just to keep everybody company.
Yeah, so we do say thank you very much. And we say as well, thank you very much to some people who've commented very nicely. We only say thank you to those people. Anyone who just sends a boring old comment, not so much. But Antonella Hall says shared. Thank you very much.
You.
Bill Kitchen says, we love you guys. Marion Bush, Marion back. Thank you very much. She says, singing along in Langley, BC, Canada. Bless you. Thank you very much for joining us. Michelle says, good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Afternoon to Marion. Linda and Boyce, she was with us last night with the Ivan session. Hi, Stephen and Paul. Carly Franklin, evening, Stephen and Paul. More comments, evening all from the Drapers. Yeah, so hello, everyone, and thanks very much. Now, talking of Ivan Bunn and the session that we did last night.
How did it go?
Yeah, it went very well. Yeah, we had a gate crasher. We absolutely had a gate crasher.
Oh, I might have heard tell of this.
Yeah, my son John was...
He's not your son, John.
My son Job was angry and grizzly. Maybe we should rewrite that song. But no, we had a gate crasher. That was all fine, though. It doesn't matter. And we've got not so much a gate crasher, but two very special guests this evening. And they are Fiona Davies and Robbie Nash. And Fiona in particular, we know very well. We can see her in the sort of virtual waiting room. She's pulling faces at the camera, kind of setting herself.
That's not how you wave, Fiona.
No, it's not. No, but Fiona is from quite a long tradition of Norfolk step dancers, and she carries on the tradition. I believe her son does as well. And we've known Fiona for a long time. She's a very talented lady. In fact,
she does a lot of different things, not just the step dancing, doesn't she?
Absolutely. She's an extremely talented painter, and she's from good stock, as they say in Norfolk. And we asked her to come on and talk a bit about step dancing. She curates a lot of stages for step dancing, in particular Folk East, Ely Folk Festival, and others. And she's very well known for what she does. And so we know her through the folk world. And in fact, we've been very lucky enough to see her perform some step dancing. And we thought, we'll just ask her if she'll come on the thread and give us a nice demonstration. And she said yes, which is brilliant. And she's bringing with her a wonderful guy called Robbie Nash, I think, to accompany her. So we'll find out. But we're going to bring her in later on. And
just before we do that, I'm going to say a few more hellos, because we've got all the ladies and they're all an M of sorts.
Yeah.
We've already said hello to Marianne Bouchert, and I'm going to say hello also to Monica Manning, to Maggie M. Clark. She says, good evening, everybody, not just me and Stephen, but everybody.
Yeah.
Hello again to our lovely guest from Poland, Kasia Marcinkowska. And one final M, Janice Marjoram. Evening all, she says.
Yeah, not just one final, but another final. Michelle Gallagher. Can't wait for Fiona to join tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Us too. Or does she mean she's had enough? I think she means she's had enough.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Stephen, I'm going to launch straight in with a sea shanty tonight.
Oh, go on. What you got?
What have I got? Now, this one is one of my personal favourites. I'm just going to check to see what it's called. No, I'm kidding. I love this one because it's got such a big energy to it. And it was mentioned recently when we had our lovely guests, John and Lynn Ward, on. They were talking about the Wilson brothers, and they are a fine group of family singers, brothers actually, and they sing lots of folk stuff, but particularly we love the sea shanties. They're from where are they from? Is it Newcastle?
I think up on the Tyne, Northumberland, something like that. Yeah.
And we've heard them sing. We've heard them sing live, and they are absolutely fantastic.
Heard them sound check as well.
Yeah, their dynamics are incredible.
Yeah.
But this song was one I heard them sing, and I particularly loved it. It's called "Round the Bay of Mexico."
Ooh.
And I wouldn't say we completely copy their version, but it's a very similar version to our version. And I'm sure that's just purely by chance. So what we're going to do, because we love to know that you're singing along with us, even if we're not able to hear you sing along, we would really love to know that you're singing along. So this is the easy bit. If you could sing, I'll be the shanty man tonight for this song. So I'll sing the first line, and then you join in on the second line. And then keep singing with the chorus, and then it gets very, very easy to sing after that, because as we know, shanties are very repetitive. So as soon as you're ready, join in with me, my hearties, and we'll make this nice and loud. Round the Bay of Mexico, way up Susiana, Mexico is the place that I belong in. Round the Bay of Mexico, all around the Bay of Mexico, way up Susiana, Mexico is the place that I belong in. Round the Bay of Mexico, when I was young and in me prime, way up Susiana, pretty girls came around in a line. Round the Bay of Mexico, all around the Bay of Mexico, way up Susiana, Mexico is the place that I belong in. Round the Bay of Mexico, them Nassau girls don't pull no comb. Way up Susiana, comb their hair with a kipper backbone. Round the Bay of Mexico, go all around the Bay of Mexico. Way up Susiana, Mexico is the place I belong in. Round the Bay of Mexico, but now I'm old and going gray. Way up Susiana, pretty girls walk the other way. Round the Bay of Mexico, all around the Bay of Mexico, way up Susiana, Mexico is the place that I belong in. Round the Bay of Mexico, yeah, Mexico is the place I belong in. Round the Bay of Mexico. Whoa!
Very nice indeed. Okay, now I'm going to do a few more comments actually because you missed out some M's. So
I did.
one here from Martha. Hello, all from another M.
Hi, Martha.
Then Mel Hennessy says another M says hi. If your name's not M, you're not coming in. And then Rosemary Boker says not an M, but I am watching Andy Murray while listening, of course. Yes, that's a tenuous one.
That is, that's
absolutely.
weak. But we're glad you're there, and we're also glad to Hoy Boy. He says, "Ahoy, me hearties!" Well, ahoy there to Hoy Boy.
I hope the weather's good.
Have you got a word for us before you do, Mel Hennessy? I'm just going to ask: are you joining us for the first time tonight? I don't think I've seen your name before.
Let us know, Mel, won't you?
And Stephen, let us know if you've got a word that's particularly peculiar to Suffolk.
I have one.
You have head?
Yeah. So every week, you probably know this very well, but if you haven't been with us too much, every week we kind of pick out a word from this wonderful book called Suffolk Words and Phrases. And that's by a wonderful guy called Edwin Moore, printed originally in 1823. And that was based on the fact that even back then, a lot of people were saying that the old words of Suffolk and the old phrases were dying out. And so he decided to catalogue them and put them in a dictionary. And then every week we kind of pick one of those words. And surprisingly, a lot of those words, even I know, I'm a Suffolk boy, and they're still kind of used. And a lot of our guys know that they're used well. But we deliberately pick the ones that aren't so well known, maybe, and we ask you to have a guess at what they might be. So we always say it's a rubbish competition because we don't let you use Google, or we ask you not to, and there's no prize. But the word this week is shiver. Now, obviously, we all know what the word shiver means. It means it's something you do when you're cold, but this is not in that context. So this is in a phrase or a word that was used in Suffolk. Okay, so let us know what you think it might be. And then a few more. Michelle clapped, Carly clapped, Marion Bashert clapped. All three claps there. And then Mel Hennessy says, "I am a first timer." Well, you're very welcome, Mel.
You're in good hands, Mel.
Yeah, I guess we should say what we're doing really and kind of why we're doing it. We're not just kind of broadcasting for the sake of it, but Paul did touch on it briefly at the beginning. But we're actually a couple of leaders from an authentic fishing choir, a shanty chorus called the Rogues Shanty Chorus, based in Lowestoft in East Anglia in the UK. And we only say the UK because we know a lot of Polish people listen in and people from Canada and a few other countries. And our shanty choir has been going for several years as part of, as Paul said, a wider project that explores the associated and celebrates the associated heritage of the fishing industry of the east coast of England. And obviously, when COVID happened, we found that we could no longer meet. So we had to suspend our rehearsals, and we decided to do some virtual online rehearsals, which kind of evolved into these kind of video conversational style podcast, video broadcast, I don't know, lots of things. And we started to get some wonderful special guests in, all related to folk music, sea shanties, and the maritime world, and all been very, very popular. And so we aim to have a new guest each week. Last week we had the broadcaster Zeb Soanes, who was a Lowestoft boy originally. Not that you'd know it from his from the way he speaks, but if you don't know who he is, you don't know what he looks like, you most likely would know his voice if you listen to the shipping forecast, because he is the voice of the shipping forecast, among many other things. A very, very talented guy who refuses to be pigeonholed. And then John and Lynn Ward, two fantastic Lowestoft musicians, also joined us to perform some of John's original songs. And this week, we've got a lovely lady called Fiona Davies, along with her accompanist for this evening, Robbie Nash. And Fiona is actually from a long line of step dancers, kind of carrying on the tradition of step dancing. And hopefully she's going to talk to us a bit about that. But Fiona is actually not just a step dancer. I mean, she's a lovely lady, but she's also a very talented artist. And we can share all her website details later on. So that's what we're doing here, Mel. That is what we are doing here. Yeah.
We've had some suggestions already.
I bet we have
on what a shiver could be in terms of Suffolk. Now, these are all guesses that I would have guessed myself, but I think you just have to wait and see. You may be surprised. Now, Rosemary Balkett, she says, "Is it a splinter?" Janice Marjoram, she says the same. Shiver equals a splinter. Jackie Draper, she says splinter from Barry. I don't know if you mean it has specifically to be from Barry, or if you're suggesting that that's Barry's suggestion.
And then Janice says snap, so I guess that means you think it's also a splinter.
Mm-hmm. Carol Fisher says evening.
She does, yeah, evening. And then we've got another new first timer, Catherine Oldest. Well, big warm welcome to you, Catherine. So I think I'm going to do a song, and look, since we've got Fiona coming in shortly, I thought we'd do a Norfolk song because Fiona is a Norfolk gal. We're Suffolk boys, so we shouldn't traditionally get on, but we do, or at least I think we do.
Yeah.
And
she's never said otherwise, has she?
Yeah, she hasn't. No, but this is a lovely, lovely song. We know it. It's if you want to sing along, if you are a choir member, it's number 43 in your folders. For anyone else, you can just sing along anyway because we put the lyrics up, and you may very well know this song. It's a particularly well-known song called Yarmouth Town, and we know I have a particular favourite, which is by Bellowhead. They do a fantastic version, changing the time signature a bit, which is very clever, but also just they have so much fun on stage. But also, obviously, you couldn't not know it by the late great Peter Bellamy. And in fact, I think it was actually Peter Bellamy who it was supposed that Peter Bellamy had a hand in trying to persuade everyone that it was a traditional song when possibly it wasn't. There's a lot of consternation on the internet and chat rooms and archives and the more about whether it really is a traditional song. When it was first or when it was agreed it was first heard in the 70s, so many people said it was too well formed and precise. Generally, what happens with folk songs is there are different versions for different counties or even countries, and you get what they call mondegreens, which are variants of the odd word here or there or slightly different verses. But it wasn't. It was perfectly formed, and so it was it was said that maybe it wasn't a traditional song, or it is now because it was around in at least the 70s, but didn't predate that. And many people said, actually, do you know what? We don't care. It's such a great song. We're very happy for we're very happy just to sing it. But anyway, this is Yarmouth Town. Let's bring up the lyrics. As always, please sing along or just have a listen. Because like this. In Yarmouth Town there lived a man, kept a tavern by the Strand. His landlord had a daughter fair, plump little thing with a golden hair. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Say, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Now to this tavern come sailor man, he asked the daughter for her hand. Why should I marry you, she said, I get all I want without being wed. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Say, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? But she says, if you want with me to linger, I'll tie a bit of string all around my finger. As you pass by, just pull on the string, and I'll come down and I'll let you all in. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? At closing time, the sailor man went to the tavern by the Strand, and then he went, pulled on the string. She'd come down and she let him all in. Won't you come down, won't you come down? She said, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? And there's more. Well, he'd never seen such a sight before, 'cause the string around her finger was all she wore. Oh, and she went, pulled on the string, pulled back the blanket and let Jack in. Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? So the sailor stayed the whole night through. Early in the morning went back to his crew, where he told them all about the maiden fair, plump little thing with the golden hair. Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? And the story that soon got around, the very next night in Yarmouth Town, there was 15 sailors pulling on the string, and she'd come down and she let them all in. Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Say, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? So all young men too young to go see a plump little girl with her hair low. All you gotta do is pull on the string. She come down and she let you all in. Say, won't you come down? Won't you come down? Won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you come down? Won't you come down? Won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Well, Yarmouth Town's not far away, but that don't matter anyway, 'cause we can go to Yarmouth Town when we're all stuck in lockdown. Oh, won't you come down? Won't you come down? Won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you come down? Won't you come down? Won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Yeah, Yarmouth Town. We're going to say, let maybe Peter Bellamy, but a great song, traditional or not, traditional in the 70s or traditional prior to that. Wonderful, wonderful song. And yeah.
I'm just going to mention a few things. If you're enjoying this broadcast, please
get
the post on your... Pardon?
You get it off your chest. Go on, say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I'm just going to get this out there.
Yeah.
Please share the post on your timeline. As we said, share it, watch party it, do whatever the heck you want with it, as long as you share it. This will help us to keep the chorus within the wider community, especially when we can't meet together as we would normally do on a fortnightly Tuesday night. If you'd like to support us further, you can do so by making a donation. This would be at www.paypal.me/onlinechoir. You can donate by debit card or PayPal, and the address should be on your screen about now. We know times are hard, and any amount is very gratefully received and would directly go towards keeping the Rogues Shanty Chorus singing. So please do that. We'd be very, very grateful. Yeah. Now, we've had a few more suggestions on Shiver, but before we do that, I'm going to pose another question, because we normally do two of them, count them, one and then a second one. And this week, I'd like to ask, what's the strangest thing you've watched on television during lockdown? And that was inspired by Janice Marjoram. She's been watching Andy Murray. I presume she means tennis, which isn't that strange, but who knows what Andy Murray is doing right now? Who knows? So I'd like to know what the strangest thing you've watched during this could bite us on the backside, couldn't it? Who knows? Anyway, I'm not sure if Stephen's still with us or if I'm still with him. Who knows? We've got a comment from Michael Bunge. He says, another M. He's another first timer. Well, Michael, once again, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. Very, very good of you to do so. Now, we've got a couple of comments on the song Stephen did, which was Yarmouth Town. Carly Franklin, she says, haha, love this song. Makes me laugh when we try to sing it. Well, there's no trying about it when it comes to the Rogues Shanty Chorus, Carly. I hope you'll agree. It's certainly not a try. It's an absolute succeed. There's also a comment from Michelle Gallagher. I danced to this at the Great Yarmouth Festival a few years back. The first song I ever sang with the Rogues too. I did not know that, Michelle. And Michelle's been with us for, a couple of years, I would have thought. Perhaps difficult to know. Marion Bouchard, she says, love the new verse. Which verse was that, Marion? I'm not entirely sure, because as per usual, I wasn't listening to Stephen. But don't tell him I said that. But which verse is it that you haven't heard before? That's a really interesting one to know. Hey, there he is. He's muted.
Was it me that got lost, or was it you? Was it me that got lost, or was it you?
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe someone could tune in for us and let us know. Perhaps it could be that we've lost all of our viewers right now.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we'll see. So I'm going to bring up Marion Bishop. She says, love the new verse, last verse of Yarmouth Town. Yeah. I'm not even sure. I was just trying to work it out. I'm not even sure I played the right chords in the right place, but hey ho. And then Michelle says, have you done this, Paul, already?
Yeah, I've done all this.
Have you done it? I'm sorry, I'm boring everyone. So Sandra says, hi, just joined you again. Shiver my timbers. A splinter sounds good. A lot of people saying it's a splinter. A lot of people. And then Charlie says, hi, guys. Well, hi, Charlie. Hope you're well, mate. Okay, should we do one more song each, and then maybe we'll bring Fiona in?
Yeah, go for it.
She's having a fag at the moment.
All right. Well, I'm going to go for this one. This is a very, very quick hand, very short drag, quick hand shanty. It's number 23 for all the. Pardon?
You need to get that in the right order. Don't spoonerize that, will you?
I certainly nil what. It's 23 for all of our rogues. If you have your own folder, you'll find it under number 23 or under the name of Old Billy Riley. It's not my Riley or Mr. Riley. It's Old Billy Riley. And we do this with two of us. The last time we did this, Stephen, I think was when you and I met on the 17th of March with Andy Roo.
No, I've done it since then.
You little devil. Okay,
yes,
well.
Yes, I have.
You have, Ed. Anyway, it goes like this. Old Billy Riley, Mr. Billy Riley. Oh, Billy Riley, oh, Billy Riley, Mr. Billy Riley. Oh, Billy Riley, old Billy Riley was a dancing master. Oh, Billy Riley, oh, Billy Riley was a dancing master. Oh, Billy Riley, old Billy Riley shipped aboard a droger. Oh, Billy Riley, old Billy Riley shipped aboard a droger. Oh, Billy Riley, old Billy Riley wed the skipper's daughter. Oh, Billy Riley, wed the skipper's daughter. Oh, Billy Riley, old Mrs. Riley didn't like sailors. Oh, Billy Riley, old Billy Riley didn't like sailors. Oh, Billy Riley, old Mrs. Riley had a lovely daughter. Old Billy Riley, old Mrs. Riley had a lovely daughter. Oh, Billy Riley, oh, Missy Riley, pretty Missy Riley. Oh, Billy Riley, oh, Missy Riley, pretty Missy Riley. Oh, Billy Riley, oh, Missy Riley, screw her up so cheerily. Oh, Billy Riley, oh, Missy Riley, pretty Missy Riley. Oh, Billy Riley, oh, Billy Riley, Mr. Billy Riley. Oh, Billy Riley, oh, Billy Riley, Mr. Billy Riley. Oh, Billy Riley, 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 oh. Now, as I mentioned, that's Old Billy Riley. It happened enough in the lyrics. I'm sure you could have guessed that for yourself. And it's a very shorthand piece. You would find it in English Folk Shanties, 1914 by Sharp, and the Shanty Book Part 2 from 1924 by Mr. Terry. They both comment that they've not come across any versions other than that particular version. Hugh Gill notes the remarkable resemblance between Billy Riley and Tiddy Hi-O and feels that it probably originates as a Cotton Hoosiers song. It may be that it was an early shanty that became less and less used. Mr. Fox Smith states that I have come across very few of the younger generation of sailormen who have heard it. Well, you've all heard it now, and I've certainly heard it. Now, a droga. This would be a small West Indian coasting craft having a long, light mast or masts and lateen sails. It could also be any slow, clumsy coasting craft. It's a Dutch word. Means to dry, to drogue. If there's any Dutch people watching that would like to correct me on that, feel free to do so. So these ships would coast, they would catch, and they dry fish at the same time. And as I said, in time, the name came to be applied to other types of slow, clumsy-looking coastal cargo vessels. And then that's what you get. So hence why Hugh Gill, feeling that it probably came from the Hoosiers with a West Indian coasting craft. A lateen. We mentioned a lateen sail with the light masts. A lateen from the French word meaning Latin or Latin rig is a triangular sail set on a long yard mounted at an angle on the mast and running in a fore and aft direction. Dating back to Roman navigation, the lateen became the favorite sail of the Age of Discovery, mainly because it allows a boat to tack against the wind. Now, I'm sure most of you are experienced sailors, But to tack means to change direction, essentially. So to cross against the wind. If you had a very narrow field of navigation, perhaps if you were on a river, or as we mentioned, these boats were coasting craft, so around the coast. So you didn't want to venture out too far from the waters of the coast, the shallow waters where perhaps you're trying to catch a particular type of fish. So in order to keep that direction, that path, that navigation path through the water, you would have to cross the wind and then cross back. And it's the same if you're on a river. Before you hit the riverbed, you have to tack, move direction, change direction, and then change direction again. And that's called to tack, which requires the rigging, the boom to be swung to the other side so you can catch the wind from the other direction against the sail. I think we might have lost Stephen again, but that's okay. Carly Franklin says, hey, Charlie. Charlie says, hi, Carly. This is turning into a private little conversation. Now, Charlie says, I would get so lost in that song. You're not alone, Charlie, because it's not a favourite of the Rogues Shanty Chorus, I've got to say, although I like it a lot. What we do, as I said earlier, we take it in turns with two groups to do lines 1, 2, and 4, while the other group does line 3. And then for the next verse, we swap it around. So group 2 does lines 1, 2, and 4, and group 1 does lines 3, and we keep swapping it verse upon verse. And then at the end, we've got that lovely kind of almost like a peal of bells. Oh, Billy Riley, oh, Billy Riley, oh, Billy Riley. And we get a lovely overlap when we try and do a studio style fade out. And we do pretty well. If we've lost Stephen, do not fear. He'll be back in a moment, and I'm sure he'll bring Fiona with him. Maybe he's gone out for a cigarette with Fiona. Now, that would be something. Anyway, I'm going to venture to give you another song. But before I do, just in case anyone is still watching me out there, I know you will tune in for Stephen, and that's fine. Oh, hang on. Jackie Draper says, no, it is a favourite, although a challenge. Thank you, Jackie. You are always too kind, and I really appreciate that. And it's lovely to get your comments, and it's lovely to know that someone, even if it's only Jackie, is still watching. In terms of comments, I really must refer you back to the beginning when we asked you what may a shiver be. Now, Jackie is one of the people that's already commented. It seems that the general consensus is in Suffolk, the word shiver refers to a splinter. I've used it myself in terms of a metal splinter. You know, sometimes you catch a bit of metal. And Sandra Warner says Pat Briggs has sent her a message. Now, she can't comment. I think she means she's not able to use the comment function. And that's fine, as long as Pat Briggs is able to enjoy watching. That's very, very good to know that Pat Briggs is out there. So thank you very much, Sandra. And anyway, Pat Briggs agrees it's a splinter. Now, as I was saying, I've heard of it in terms of a metal splinter, a shiver. I've never heard of it in reference to a wooden splinter or a timber splinter. But I could be proved wrong. We'll wait and see. Now, I don't think we've had any comments so far on our funny question. It's not a competition, but we will award a winner if we remember, which, frankly, we probably won't. But I'd like to know, what's the strangest thing you've watched during lockdown? Doesn't have to just be on television. Doesn't have to be a film or a program. Could be that you've been out in a hide and watched some birds. You've been twitching. Maybe you've been doing that. There could be a number of other things. Maybe you've been down to the river and you've been able to watch a boat tacking, doing that very thing I gave you a long-winded explanation of recently. Who knows what other things you could be watching? I'd prefer it if you keep it clean. Let's put it that way. But there'd be a number. Maybe you've been watching your cats, if you've got cats. The point is, there's a whole host of things you could be watching, and I'd like to know what's the strangest thing you've been doing. So next up is another great song, and it's called The Jolly Roving Tar, or we know it as Get Up, Jack, John, Sit Down. It's a fantastic. Sude says, ahoy there all. I like old Billy Riley too. Also reference to him as a dancing master. Yes. Now, I'm never sure, Sue. I did do some research on this at the time, and I don't think I was able to find out. But I'm never sure if they mean he's a master, i.e. the master of the ship, the skipper, the captain, who happens to like a dance, or if he's a master dancer. Do you see the difference? But if anybody could tell me that, I'd be very, very grateful. In fact, I mentioned I was going to sing you a song called The Jolly Roving Tar. I promise you'll get that one, but maybe not instantly, because if I'm honest, I haven't got the lyrics for it prepared, because I was expecting to have a little bit more time before that was needed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing you a different song. This is for our fantastic viewers from Poland. We get quite a few, and I know Kasia Marcinkowska is watching tonight. And this song, I had a little bit of a dig around for some Polish shanties, and I would love to sing it to you in Polish. It's not going to happen tonight. Certainly not tonight. It's probably not ever going to happen. But if I can, I will. But in the meantime, it seems that this one is a very popular one in Poland. But I'm going to sing it to you in English. It's called The Bonnie Ship, the Diamond. It's not one that our rogues will know, but it's a fantastic song. And it goes like this. I hope you know it, Kasia. If not, maybe I'm singing it wrong. The diamond is a ship, my lads, for the Davis Strait she's bound, and the quay it will be garnished with bonny lasses round. Captain Thompson gives the orders to sail the ocean wide, where the sun it never sets, me lads, no darkness dims the sky. And it's cheer up, my lads, let your hearts never fail, for the bonny ship, the diamond, goes a-fishing for the whale. Along the quays of Peterhead, the lasses stand around, their shawls pulled about them, and their salty tears run down. Now don't you weep, my bonny lass, though ye be left behind, for the rose will bloom on Greenland's ice before we change our mind. And it's cheer up, my lads, let your hearts never fail, for the bonny ship, the diamond, goes a-fishing for the whale. Here's health to the Resolution, likewise the Eliza Swan. Here's health to the Battler of Montrose and the Diamond Ship of Fame. We wear trousers of the white, we wear jackets of the blue, and when we return to Peterhead, we'll have sweethearts anew. And it's cheer up, my lads, let your hearts never fail, for the bonny ship, the diamond, goes a-fishing for the whale. The sun will shine both night and day when the whaling lads come home, in a ship that's full of oil, my boils, and money to our name. We'll make cradles all to rock, and the blankets for to tear, and every lass in Peterhead sings hush-a-bye, my dear. And it's cheer up, my lads, let your hearts never fail, for the bonny ship, the diamond, goes a-fishing for the whale. And it's cheer up, my lads, let your hearts never fail, for the bonny ship, the diamond, goes a-fishing for the whale. Well, that seems to have done the trick. Kasia says it is very popular in Poland indeed, and I love it. Thank you so much for thinking about us. Well, Kasia, thank you very much for joining in, you and the regular Poland posse. Thank you so much. As I said, I'd love to sing to you in Polish. It's going to take me several decades to do that, although I would love to do that. So if anybody's got any tricks on how I might go about it, and that doesn't involve Google Translate, I'd be delighted to know. Now, what would really interest me to know, Kasia, is basically our version with the lyrics. It references particularly a place called Peterhead, which is in Scotland, which is one of the northern nations of our fine island country. So Scotland is the northernmost nation. I'm sure you know this, but just in case, I hope I'm not teaching Granny to suck eggs. So it's very particular to that part of our country. So I'd love to know if in the Polish lyrics it still references Peterhead, or if it's a bit more local to you guys. A couple of comments from you lovely people. Carol Fisher says, I know this may seem odd, but have I heard Splinter during the harvest years ago? I don't know, Carol. In fact, I've got no idea. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. I know this may seem odd, but have I heard Splinter during the harvest years ago? Well, maybe if you could clarify that, only because I'm feeling a little bit dim tonight. Michelle Gallagher very kindly gives 3 rounds of applause. Martha gives 4. And I always said you were the best, Martha. Rosemary Bowkett, she's been enjoying watching the 2 bats flying at dusk over mine and my neighbour's gardens. Yes, Rosemary, that's exactly the kind of thing I was anticipating somebody would pitch in with. So 2 bats flying at dusk. That does sound, well, it sounds lovely. I suppose it could be strange if it's the strangest thing you've watched, but it's certainly a lovely, lovely thing to watch. And who else have we got commenting? Marion Bouchette says, lol, teaching Granny to suck eggs. Lovely. Have you missed those interesting little sayings that you get from Britain? Claire Louise Langley. Good evening, you lovely people. Hope you're all doing okay and well. Oh, no, Marion Bouchette, she says, never heard that expression. Okay, I'm sure you know what it means. Anyway, Carol Fish has come back. Is it straw? Ah, so you mean like a splinter of straw, a shiver? Yeah, that would be quite painful. Straw does get ever so sharp. Now, Stephen seems to be communicating with me somehow, and I think if we hold hands, we might be able to contact the living here. I'm going to wait and see if Stephen is able to come back in to join us with Fiona. If not, what I'd like him to do... yes, there he is. He's going to bring in step dancer extraordinaire, Fiona Davies. Hello, Fiona. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm well. I'm sorry you're stuck with me tonight and not the pretty one. He's... I'm not sure what he's doing, but hopefully I'll do. Fiona, I'd love to know a few things. What have you been up to mainly during lockdown? Anything good?
Well, I work from home, so I have been working. I've been working on a village sign for Marshall and St James. I'm making a fiberglass copy for it at the moment. Cool. And I did a Facebook festival, which
was called Folk Off the Pier, wasn't it?
Folk Off the Pier.
Yeah.
We're the Fringe has recently become a non-profit organisation. Mm-hmm. This year, we obviously, because of COVID, we couldn't do it. So the show must go on, really.
Cool. We should just back that up and say it's usually called Folk on the Pier.
Yeah, it was called Folk on the Pier Fringe Festival, mm-hmm. But now because we've become a non-profit, we've called ourselves Folk Off the Pier. So we're still working with Scott on Folk on the Pier, but it's quite nice to have a different name, but it's still very, very connected.
Yeah, still got the association, but people can find different things in each of those things. Fantastic.
Yeah, well, we merged. Some of the artists from the main stage come and play on the Fringe. Mm-hmm. It's held in Cromer for the whole weekend, usually the second weekend in May. It really brings the people into Cromer, and we're planning on more things because we can go for funding now. Yeah. So we're hoping to have more Morris dancers around town, and have more things going on.
Yeah. I mean, and there's already some lovely things going on, but it's such a lovely town. There's always scope to have more things and to engage the public more.
Yeah. We've been going now for over 20 years.
Wow.
For the pier, and you know, I think the locals love it and enjoy the whole weekend. It's near enough everything is free. So mm-hmm. What can't you enjoy? Free music and not free beer, though.
No, but I think the people would enjoy that a little bit too much, wouldn't they?
Yes, just slightly.
No, but fantastic work. I was due to do a 60s festival on the pier in Cromer, but obviously that got cancelled. But it's one of those things.
A great venue on that pier.
It is, yeah.
I grew up with that pier with Dad being a lifeboatman, and it's I still feel him when I'm there.
Well, that's a lovely thing to have that connection. You know, I mean, obviously, we're all connected to those that we've lost along the way. But to be in a particular place and you know, to feel the boards under your feet and to know that that's a real tangible connection right there. It's a lovely thing.
Yeah, how many of my ancestors have run across that pier to the lifeboat? I'm very proud of my heritage.
I'm not surprised. And talking of heritage, that leads us to one of the reasons why we asked you if you would be interested to come on board and have a chat with us. I'd love to keep chatting some more, but I'm wondering if we should look at that now while the light is still as fresh as it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 'cause it's a little bit dark.
It's not too dark. I'm just thinking. Here we go. Hey. So this is going to be our alternative viewing screen.
Hang on, just got to wait for Robbie to come back.
Yeah, of course, I'm just going to set the scene up.
Oh, he's getting his box out.
Oh,
okay.
Good for him. Now, Fiona is our lovely friend, and she does traditional step dancing. And so we've set up another camera angle. The original one. The original one is where Johnny's going to be playing, and the secondary one now is going to show us Fiona's feet. Now, we may experience a bit of a lag, so you might find that Fiona's feet are not quite in time with the instrument. If that is the case, we will know we will know that's not anything that Fiona's doing wrong.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for a paraglider to go over.
Yeah,
he's a little bit loud.
Yeah. It's that old saying, isn't it? Don't work with animals and paragliders.
Oh, all afternoon. I've been trying to film stuff, and yeah, he's been a bit busy. I just wish I had my shotgun. Right, yeah, ready? Right, we're ready.
Lovely. Take it away. Well, that was fantastic, Fiona. Thank you, and hopefully you'll be pleased to know that that was perfectly in sync as far as my untrained eye could see. That was not lagging at all. That worked wonderfully
Brilliant.
well.
Yeah,
you must be exhausted.
Oh, I'm out of breath. I haven't done this in the whole time of the lockdown.
Yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? But it was fantastic. Thank you. And the two angles worked really well, and the light is much better on the feet.
The feet.
Charlie Moore, she says great dancing. She's a dancer herself, so she's got a much better eye at it than I have. Michelle Gallagher is another dancer. She's a fantastic choreographer as well. She's been tapping along. She says fantastic. Applause from her. And Linda Boyce, brilliant. She cannot listen without tapping her feet, she says. And well done from Mel Hennessy, and applause from Carly Franklin as well. We've even got Stephen, the old curmudgeon, to join us now.
Yeah, he's back.
How are you? How are you, Fiona? All right?
I'm good, thank you. I thought you were avoiding me.
No, not at all. I promise, not at all. So I was actually, I was listening backstage, but I was actually going to pick up the fact that you are an artist as well, because I know you mentioned the like village signs, but that you are commissioned to, I mean, not just paint village signs, paint anything really, but you have done quite a few village signs, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done quite a few. We are lucky to actually live in an area where there are a lot of village signs, Norfolk and Suffolk especially.
I suppose if you were based in the East Midlands, it would be a bit more difficult to get work, wouldn't it?
I've learnt so much about Norfolk through the signs.
Yeah.
So much folklore. The one I'm doing at the moment has got Tom Hickathrift. Have you heard of Tom Hickathrift?
I have, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the Whiz Beach giant.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, he's on both sides. It's a double-sided village sign that I'm doing. So it's quite interesting because they're artworks in themselves. They're little sculptures in themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, they are.
And a lot of people miss them. They don't actually notice them until they disappeared and someone says, someone's nicked the village sign, and I've got it on my table.
Yeah.
So you nicked it.
I nicked it, yeah.
You know what,
no, you're absolutely right though. That they are lovely pieces in and of themselves, aren't they?
Well, they're all different materials as well. You get wood, you get metal, sometimes fiberglass, and I can restore all of them. I do the metal ones as well. I find them a lot easier than the wooden ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also do a lot of conservation painting over at Thursford as well, Thursford Collection.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm doing something for the gondola, and I've done the carousel as well, the horses. So that was interesting.
We're just flashing up some
my website,
some pictures from your website. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So if anybody would like an original painting on canvas or otherwise, I guess
I do pet portraits as well.
Oh, pet portraits, that's always a popular one. I'm particularly interested in the piers and the views out to sea, but head on over to fionadaviesart.co.uk and we'll just pull up the village signs as well. Actually, Fiona, I'm going to send you a picture of my village sign because it's terrifying. There's like a monk or something with a black hood, and his eyes are, they keep me awake at night.
That's the Tough Monk's death monkey, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I will send you a picture of that because you might know something about it, or you might find it particularly interesting. I will send you a picture of that. But I want to actually just pick up on the fact that your heritage, because I'm going to bring up in a little while. I'm going to bring up the video that you sent us, but I know you're of kind of particular heritage stock. I think, is it right, you're the great niece of Henry Blogg, who was the most decorated lifeboatman in UK history?
That is right. That's very correct. Yes.
Sorry, carry on.
No, you're right. Go on.
I was just going to say, we're in a couple of Facebook groups of the same kind of thing, with an appreciation for like East Anglian history or or various Norfolk things, and I see now and again I see someone post an old photo saying, "Oh, does anyone know anything about this or when this was taken?" And a lot of the time you come in with the answer, "Yeah, that was my great granddad," or "That was so and so. He was selling crabs in Cromer, and he was quite a showman," and this, that, and the other. So you seem to have a lot of knowledge about it all, as well as just being connected to all this heritage and history. And
well, it's part of my life. I grew up as a fisherman's daughter, and not really, it's quite a male-orientated world. So I spent a lot of time with the old fishermen, lots of the old lifeboatmen, and with the step dancing as well. And you listen to them, and my history in my family is so important to a lot of people, not just my family. So it's nice to give people that information.
Absolutely, yeah. And so is it okay if I share that video that you
yeah, please do. Yeah. It's one of my favorites, and I watch it every month, at least once a month.
So if anybody is interested at all in kind of maritime history or step dancing or folk music, sea shanties or anything else, you're really gonna enjoy this. So I'm just gonna take me a beat just to share it.
While you do that, Stephen, I'm just going to mention a few more comments. One from Sandra Warner. She said that was really good. And Carol Fisher, applause from her. Now, Sue Day says, lovely to hear and see the step dancing. Last time I saw Sue Day was in a meeting on Zoom, and she was wearing her Folk East T-shirt and very much missing Folk East this year. Now, Sue, not sure if you're aware that Fiona Davies is in fact the curator of the dance tent.
Yep.
in normal years.
You paused, Paul, as if you were waiting for Sue to reply.
Yeah, you never quite know with Sue.
Yeah. She could be anywhere.
Well, yeah, the dance tent. I'm going to miss Folk East this year. It's one of my favourite festivals, along with Folk on the Pier. It is one of my favourites, and I'm really going to miss it this year. But I'd already booked for this year. I'd already booked every band, but I shall take them over to next year.
Yeah, good. It's a real shame. Obviously, a lot of festivals worldwide, let alone nationally, unable to go ahead, and where possible, a lot of them have moved online. But it's a big task for the bigger festivals, isn't it, to do that?
Yeah. It's just we all have to learn to adapt, and that's why I think they're doing a lot of stuff online. Yeah. I think we were one of the first, possibly, but that was mentally taxing, doing it online rather than physically, usually that weekend. So
yeah. So I'm just going to I think I'll bring in the video. Maybe Paul or Fiona could let me know if it comes in properly before I press play, but if you can see something.
Yeah,
no, I'm going to take it off. Is it okay? I just wonder if I might need to take it off full screen. Yeah, I think I'll take it off full screen. There we go.
It takes a little while to warm up.
That's fine.
To get the valves going.
This is my dad.
Oh, can't you just tell?
Thankfully, I look like my mother.
Wonderful.
This next one is my great uncle Dick Davies. And this is my teacher. This is my grandfather, Jack Davies.
Wonderful. Fantastic.
This is the only one who isn't related. This is Frank Balls, Friday Balls. His nickname was Friday. But he did build the extension in my house.
Oh. Such a lovely atmosphere.
Yeah. And the last one is Shrimp Davis. He was coxswain on the lifeboat. I can't remember how many years, but for a lot, and served under Henry Blogg. It's my grandfather's cousin. You can see where he's been wearing his cap.
Hat head, yeah. Fantastic.
That's a lovely old film.
That is lovely. What I'd like to know is, did the step dancing keep them fit for their lifeboat duties, or did lifeboat keep them fit for their step dancing?
Yeah. Both, I think. Yeah. The step dancing would be done after a hard day at work, either on the boats or on the lifeboat. So they'd all, that's their way of winding down. You didn't have jukeboxes. No. I can do if you like. I can do a waltz, do a nice slow one.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
I'm going to bring up some comments before you do, actually. There's, who we got? So this is a little bit kind of inconsequential, but Sandra says, Pat Briggs said a lady called Maureen Long. Hang on, let's catch up with this. Pat Briggs said a lady called Maureen Long from Kessingland wrote a book about Suffolk village signs. Right, well, maybe I know Pat, and I'm going to see if we can find out what that book is. Sue Day says...
I might have that.
Oh, yeah, really? There you go.
I've got a few books on village signs and stuff. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. So Sudo says, didn't know Fiona ran the dance tent. Love the Kayleys, and I did medieval and step dancing workshops. I'm just a novice. And Sue,
I'm glad
actually,
you did the medieval. The medieval the workshop went down a storm. That my friend Tim Walker.
yeah, lovely. Well, Sue obviously thought so as well. Charlie says, so nice that you have that video. Sandra Warner, now this is interesting. Antique Roadshow talked about him Sunday night. I was going to tell you about that. So I wonder who him is, if she's referring to Henry Blogg. Maybe you'll let us know, Sandra, because that would be interesting.
I was actually on the Antiques Road trip not long ago. So yeah, I think the Antiques Road show was on Sunday and it was on Cromer Pier.
Yeah.
So it was a repeat.
Wonderful.
I actually have Henry Blogg's chair in my house that he made.
Oh wow.
Yes, it's half me. I love it.
Nice.
It's so comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wonderful.
A few other comments.
A few more comments. Yeah, Maggie M. Clark, how lovely to see that. Martha Knox Forrester, thank you. That was great. Michelle Gallagher, love this video clip. I've watched it many times to learn some of the steps. Oh, lovely. Carly says, what a lovely video. Now, Kasia Marcin Kauska, she's watching from Poland. We have a few Polish people watching, and she says, I feel stupid now. I didn't know step dancing had anything to do with the English tradition. Love the video. Well, don't feel stupid, Cassie, because I'm sure many other countries have their own kind of step dancing tradition.
Oh, God, there's so many varieties of step dancing. Mine's very, very traditional. It's a very freestyle dance. A lot of people have collected people's dance steps, but I think originally step dancing was an individual dance. You could with East Anglian step dancers, you could put 100 in one room and not one will dance the same.
So it's very much
about
personal
your
expression.
individual.
Yeah,
it's all about making your individual style.
Yeah,
showing off really.
And why not?
Do you know what I think?
Exactly.
Fiona, I could certainly make my individual style if I did.
I could imagine. Yeah.
That's a different thing. And then Pam Stone says, "Love the stepping video." Sandra Warner says, "Yes, that's right." So they must have mentioned Henry Blogg then on Antiques Roadshow. Thanks, Sandra.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he is our most decorated lifeboatman ever.
Fair enough. So stands to reason. Maybe I wonder if somebody maybe had a medal or something that they took in. Who knows?
Oh, there's no end of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's mugs with his face on. There's even mugs with my dad's face on, which is a bit scary.
Okay. So Fiona, I wonder, could we persuade you to do another step dance?
Are you all right with that, Robbie? Bless him. He's been ever so quiet.
Now,
He's a very good musician.
Since you've got Robbie Nash with you, I wonder if, I know he's from a great band himself, I wonder if you could give him a mention, Fiona, because he's just the man.
Yeah, Robbie Nash is a fabulous melodian player. I often dance with Robbie. He is also in the I forgot what band you're in now. He's in the Bounty Hounds, a Suffolk band. But he's also with the Blakeney Old Wild Rovers.
Oh, wonderful.
Great.
Yeah.
We must have bumped into him at the Great Yarmouth Maritime Festival a few years back.
Well, yeah.
Probably. And he also used to be in the Smugglers, Cromer Smugglers.
Wow. Okay,
right, yeah.
Well,
and which I was in briefly. So
lovely.
Yeah. So I know him. I've known him many, many years. He's a great little melodian player, and I always call him Simon Care's stunt double.
Simon what? Sorry.
Simon Care's stunt double. Simon Care's another melodian player. Some of you people would know who he is. Robbie plays a lot of his tunes, so that's why we call him Simon Care's stunt double.
Cool. Okay, right. I'm going to take Paul and myself out of the thread just so people can see you in kind of a larger screen, and we'll come back in some point.
Scary. All right.
Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Thank you. Do you know what? I'm really interested in the fact that your top half and your feet seem to be in different time zones.
Yeah,
I know.
that sounds about right for me, really.
I tell you what,
give Fiona just a minute to catch her breath and say that Michelle has commented, every time I step dance, it's always improvised. No two performances are the same. Total freedom, which picks up very much on what you were saying. Actually,
that's what it's all about, really.
Yeah.
I recently went to a step dance conference, and the only two that danced like improvised like myself were both family traditions.
Oh wow!
The others had sort of revived the step dancing, so it makes me think whether all step dancing should be impromptu. So
yeah, absolutely. Lovely. So I'm going to bring up a few more comments. Pam Stone again, yay. Maggie Clark, 4 claps. See, she gave us 3 claps each of us earlier on, Fiona, and you've got 4. So I think she must prefer that. Michelle,
of course, I'll pay you later.
She gets a bit technical. She says, "Love the use of cross rhythm. Shuffle step ball change 2/4 into 3/4 signature. Love it." Oh, there you go.
Okay, that's what it is.
Exactly, yeah. Lily Boy, very entertaining. Thanks, Fiona. And do you know what? Actually, on my time hop the other day, Fiona, it came up that it was just 2 days ago. We were Paul and me and yourself and Skip Shipley and John and Lynn were at the Cornhill in Ipswich. And we were celebrating Suffolk Day last year. I'm just going to remove this overlay as well because we can't see your face. That's not good. There you go, better. And so that was just over a year ago. So that went quick, didn't it?
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. Exactly. But yeah, it was a good day, wasn't it, boys?
It was lovely.
Good fun. Good fun.
Really nice. Yeah. So, Fiona, is there? Have we sort of missed any of your talents or what you get up to? I mean, aside from the absolutely beautiful paintings. I knew you painted, and I remember taking a look at your website maybe like a year ago or something. But I had a good look today, and wow, absolutely fell in love with most of the paintings on there, and just absolutely fascinated with the village sign work as well, which is just something a bit different too. But have you got any other tricks up your sleeve? Any talents that you do?
Anything else? I occasionally sing. I'm not as confident with that as I am with the dancing, but yeah, occasionally I'll belt out a song.
Yeah.
You sang earlier Yarmouth Town, which is totally different to our Norfolk. Well, not totally different, but a little bit different to our Norfolk version. My father used to sing that, so that was really nice.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. I might be doing a Sam Lana song later on. And did I see you comment somewhere in a group that your family knew Sam as well? Did I see that somewhere?
I think Dad knew Sam. Well, Dad was at the unveiling of his plaque in Winterton.
That was what I saw. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another village sign I've done, Winterton.
Lovely, very nice.
And Hopton on Sea.
Yeah, lovely.
In the road from you guys.
Yeah, very close actually to where we normally would meet, just maybe 5 or 6 miles away.
Yep. But yeah, Dad knew Sam, and my family knew Walter Pardon as well, which is another great Norfolk singer.
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, we had a guy called Damien Barber on a few weeks ago, and I think
Damien, I missed him. Yeah, I know Damien.
Watch again because he did a couple of brilliant songs. He did a Sam Lana. He might have done a Walter Pardon, or maybe one of us did a Walter Pardon song that night. I can't remember, but yeah. Okay, lovely. So before you go, Fiona, by which I mean before we kick you out, we do this thing, on a weekly basis where we choose a word from this book here called Suffolk Words and Phrases by Edward Moore, originally printed 1823. And some of the words and phrases are still used. You know, I hear people using them or they're kind of in popular use, but a lot of them are not. And we try and pick one that maybe wouldn't be so obvious, and we bring it up, and then we ask people to guess what it is. And as a Norfolk girl, I know you're at a bit of a disadvantage, but what do you think shiver means? I mean,
you've had it mentioned, but I would have thought it was a splinter. But
yeah, a lot of people saying that. Yeah, okay. Well, I probably suspect you just can't be bothered and don't care what it is. But if you want to, stick around in the green room, the backstage waiting room, and we'll let you know. But I know you're just going to leave straight afterwards because it's not at all interesting. Can we say a big thank you to Fiona and also to Robbie Nash?
Robbie Nash.
Big,
Robbie,
yeah.
give me back. You have to be 2 meters distance. Say hi, everyone. Yeah, look. I'll move. You can get in.
Hi.
Thank you so much, Robbie.
Thank you so much. Lovely playing. Thank you. So
thank you, everyone.
Yeah, not at all. And anybody, if you've kind of just caught the middle of this, you can obviously either rewind or catch it again, and do watch it again. So thank you very much. And we'll also put
I shall share it on the Folk Off the PF page, so it'll be on there as well. So
lovely. And we'll also share in this thread. We'll pin to the top the YouTube link of your dad and your uncle and your granddad and everybody else, all the Davies crew. Yeah. Lovely, but thank you so much, Fiona, and
take care of yourself.
For asking me.
We'll see you soon, hopefully, when all this is finished. Yeah,
hopefully.
Cool. All right, see you later. Thank you. Bye. So that was Fiona Davies, a wonderful lady, step dancer extraordinaire, and very popular with everyone else by the looks of it. So we want to say thank you to her. If you just caught the end of that, don't rewind, don't miss us now. Do a watch later, because it's fantastic clip, and some lovely dancing, lovely playing. And a couple of comments already. Monica Manning says thank you, very good, enjoyed the dancing. Yeah. Michelle Gallagher says thank you, Fiona. Michelle, actually lovely, fantastic dancer, and did some step dancing for us and taught some step dancing to our chorus in the days when we used to be able to meet. Now, I want to do something, Paul.
Just before you do it, I'm just going to pick up a couple of comments that we had on what's the strangest thing you've watched during lockdown.
Okay.
Now, Sandra Warner, she has watched 2 muntjac deer mating in the field behind the bungalow.
Excuse me, pardon, what?
They will get anywhere, those muntjac. Now, I've got to say, I used to live out in the sticks, and the muntjac mating call is the scariest thing I've ever heard. It sounds like a drunk man trying to get in your house, basically.
Yeah.
But that's a strange thing indeed, Sandra. You may well win with that. Jackie Draper, she has enjoyed watching and listening our neighbours playing and singing in the drive. Dad was on tuba, mum on the trumpet, daughter number 1 on trombone, daughter number 2 on the cornet. All families out listening and singing. That sounds like a lovely, really lovely event, actually. Very jealous of that, but not very strange, but a very, very lovely thing to have watched.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, do you know what? So unless there's anything else, Paul, I'm going to do a song, because I guess I missed 1 or 2. Did I earlier?
Nothing good, mate.
Nothing good. Okay. Now this is a bit different. This is actually a gospel song, but the reason I share it is because it's featured in this lovely book called "Slave Songs of the Georgia Sea Islands." Songs with a kind of a focus on the sea, as I guess slave songs would be. If you're a slave on an island, the sea would certainly represent possibility of freedom.
Well, if you go back further in time to galleons, whereby slaves would be rowing, propelling the ship forward, the music would have been a part of it, even if it was only just the beat of a drum to keep those oars stroking in time. Music has always been used to coordinate effort.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a few songs, or a couple of songs, with our chorus from this same book, Slave Songs of the Georgia Sea Islands, but this is not one of them. This is just one that I picked up. And
should just say that book is by Lydia Parrish, if anybody's looking to buy it.
Absolutely, yeah. You'd be lucky to. We waited a long time to get a copy of ours. It's out of print. There are some around, but if you can get a copy and you're interested in kind of collecting ethnic music, then we can absolutely heartily recommend it. Not just the songs, the notation, the lyrics, but a lot of information about not just the slaves, but the slave traders. So anyway, this is a song called Deep River, and it's a beautiful song, and I hope it's not too unbeautiful for my version. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Oh, don't you want to go to the gospel feast, that promised land where all is peace? Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. So just a short one there, really.
But
Deep
beautiful
River,
one, really nice, Stephen.
Thank you. As a lot of the gospel songs came through the African American community, and the idea of water representing freedom and the gospel and salvation, in fact, but also freedom on a physical level from the, from slavery, and really not that long ago. A lot of these songs were collected in as late as the early 19th century. Anyway, so couple of comments. Monica Manning, can't hear you, Paul. No, he was muted, Monica, because he ruins my songs when he's not muted if I'm singing. Okay. Michelle, lovely song, Stephen. Thank you very much. Bless you. Marion Boucher. Oh, she gave me 4 claps then, only 3 earlier. Carly sounded nice, and Maggie Clark, all 4 claps again. Thank you very much. Thank you. What about you, Paul? Have you got one you'd like to do?
I have, yeah. Would you be able to flash up the lyrics for Jolly Roving Tar? Get up, Jack. John, sit down.
Yeah, I just that's what didn't like doing that earlier on, and that's what sent me out. But that's all right. Keep talking a bit. Give them a bit of info, and I'll.
Okay. Now this is a song that our lovely Rogues Shanty Chorus have been doing for a short while, because it's a relatively new one to us. And we've been enjoying it. Now, this we know this from lots of different versions. It's very popular in Ireland with slightly different lyrics. But these are the lyrics we'd like you to join in with if you can and when you're ready. Now, it's number 52. 51. And it's called The Jolly Roving Tar, or a subtitle of Get Up, Jack, John, Sit Down. I forgot how small. I need to put my reading glasses on.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do, but I'm going to struggle to play guitar and read. Here we go. Now, ships may come and ships may go, just as long as the seas do run. And a sailor lad likewise his dad, he loves his pork and rum. Now, alas, ashore he do adore one that's plump and round. When your money's gone, it's the same old song. Get up, Jack, John, sit down. Come along, me jolly brave boys. There's plenty more grog in the jar. We'll plough the briny ocean with a jolly roving tar. When Jack's ashore, he makes his way to some old boarding house. He's welcomed in with rum and gin, likewise his fork and scouse. Now he'll spend and never offend until he's drunk on the ground. Come along, the same old song. Get up, Jack, John, sit down. Come along, me jolly brave boys. There's plenty more grog in the jar. We'll plough the briny ocean with a jolly roving tar. He then will slip aboard some ship for India or Japan, or in Asia there the ladies fair all love the sailor man. He will trip ashore and he won't scorn to buy some maid a gown. When your money's gone, it's the same old song. Get up, Jack John, sit down. Come along, me jolly brave boys. There's plenty more grog in the jar. We'll plough the briny ocean with a jolly roving tar. When Jack is old and weather beat, too old to sail about, in some grog shop they'll let him stop till 8 bells do ring out. His hands held high, he'll loudly cry, thank God I'm homeward bound. When your money's gone, it's the same old song. Get up, Jack John, sit down. Come along, me jolly brave boys. There's plenty more grog in the jar. We'll plough the briny ocean with a jolly roving tar. Come along, me jolly brave boys. There's plenty more grog in the jar. We'll plough the briny ocean with a jolly roving tar.
Lovely. Okay, so message from Carly there, or comment saying, love this song. Claire Louise Langley, lots of claps there, but I don't know if that was for my song. I think this was for your song, slightly less. Yeah. So, okay, yeah. Claire Louise Langley, really enjoying the music. Well, thank you very much. And Michelle, clap, clap, clap. I don't want to turn this into a thing where we expect it after every song.
No, but please do more. We need this.
Yeah, you must keep doing it. Absolutely, yeah. It's pretty imperative, to be honest. Otherwise, I've got this end broadcast button right above me. I think I'm gonna try and do one.
Your guitar has shrunk.
Yes, it hath shrunk.
It hath shrunk already, Bo.
Shrunk and it hath done. So this is actually another one. I wasn't necessarily planning to do this, but and certainly not on uke. But this is another one from this lovely book, Slave Songs of the Georgia Sea Islands by Lydia Parrish. Lovely song. We do this. We kind of actually were. It was brought to our attention. We knew it was in the book, but it was brought to our attention by our wonderful drummer Andy Marr, who is a big fan of Bruce Springsteen, and Bruce Springsteen does this. And yeah, and I guess the irony of this is that the song is called "Pay Me My Money Down," and one of the lyrics in the chorus, or the lyric in the chorus, says "Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my money down." Of course, the irony is as a black person, who was in slavery, obviously you'd be in no position at all to take anyone to jail for not paying them, let alone getting paid at all, really. But I think looking through the book, a lot of these songs were sung in jest, and in actual fact, there were more than a few songs that sung about the fondness that they had for the slave traders, which is especially given the very social and political situation at the moment all over the world. A very curious thing. So
it should be said that's certain slave traders and owners.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Anyway, this is a song called "Pay Me My Money Down," and shouldn't really do this on uke. I don't know. Actually, no, I'm going to talk a bit longer because I'm just going to bring up the lyrics, maybe. Or Paul can, anyway.
I'm just going to have a quick word and say, Eddie Godwin says, hello, Paul and Stephen. He actually says, hell, Paul and Stephen, but I think he means hello.
Well, maybe he doesn't.
Hell. Yay for ukulele, says Marion Bouchette. Monica Manning, she says she loves this one.
Yeah, but Marianne, just you wait. hold your horses.
In fact, I've actually heard Andy Marr say he'll pay you his money down not to play this on ukulele.
In fact, there's a joke that Andy, our drummer, says, and he says, "No, you know the way to find out what time it is if you don't have a watch, but you've got a ukulele." And I say, "No," and he says, "Hand me that ukulele," and he starts strumming it, and then someone says, "Who the heck is that playing ukulele at whatever time of the day it is?" Eddie's apologised already, saying, "Oops, sorry, not at all, Eddie. It's all right. We're only jesting with you." So anyway, let's bring up the lyrics. Pay me my money down. Find them, bring them up, and play the song, I guess. Thought I heard my captain say, "Pay me my money down. Tomorrow is my sailing day. Pay me my money down. Won't you pay me my money down. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my money down. Wished I was Mr. Coffin's son. Pay me my money down. Stay in the house and drink the good rum. Pay me my money down. Oh, pay me, oh, pay me. Pay me my money down. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my money down. You owe me, so pay me. Pay me my money down. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my money down. Pay me. Pay me. Pay me my money down. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my money down. Wished I was Mr. Foster's son. Pay me my money down. Sit on the bank and see the work done. Pay me my money down. Oh, pay me. Pay me. Pay me my money down. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my money down. Yeah, just stop them lyrics. Anyway,
nicely
do
done.
a couple of comments. Thank you. Cassia Marskin Koska says, love it. And Janet Wood says, there's a veg. Hey? What happened there? What was that about? I don't know.
It was good though. Just a couple of bits on a bit more history on Pay Me My Money Down. Now, Lydia Parrish, the author of that book that we mentioned earlier, she says Mr. Foster was the big boss at the Hilton Dodge Mill on the west side of St. Simon's, and the stevedores tell me they always sang this verse when they saw him coming. The Hilton Dodge Mill was started in 1868 and supplied much of the lumber used in the building of the Brooklyn Bridge in 1878. The mill industry's heyday on St. Simon's span the years from 1874, when the HD mill was finally in full production, until the industry's demise around 1910.
And so the term stevedore, as Paul mentioned, was a term given to black labourers or slaves who loaded and unloaded bales of cotton off the riverboats at the quay. And so I guess they would be quay workers.
Not bad.
I'm trying here. If you're interested, I know some people are. The Roud number in the Roud Folk Index is 21449. We do, by the way, put all the Roud Folk Index numbers, if they're in Roud, in the credits at the end. If you don't know what Roud is, somebody did ask mid-stream last week and we gave them an answer, but it turned into a long answer. So feel free to message us, but it's an extremely valuable thing, and it's also a great archival and research tool as well. The Roud Folk Index, named after the person who created it, Steve Roud. Wonderful guy, fantastic folk collector, archivist, and ethnomusicologist.
Now, Janet Wood says she pressed the wrong key, hence the strange veg message.
Right.
It's tricky to say. I think what she actually meant to say was there's a good programme on BBC4 about the slave trade presented by the historian David Olusoga.
Oh, I see what you did there, Janet, because I tried to tell someone about that once and I just sent a message saying there's a veg as well. It's so easily done. Yeah. Hey ho. Sorry, Janet. And thank you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So I think maybe we've got time for one more song, but I'd like to reveal our Suffolk word.
Yes, boy.
Yeah.
Go on. Now, the word was shiver, and the book is Suffolk Words and Phrases.
Yeah. Great book by Edward Moore, 1823. And this is our version. And it just talks in the book a little bit wonderfully, actually, and extremely interestingly about the fact that Suffolk and Norfolk were counties that didn't have their own dialect, unlike many other counties, particularly in the West Country. But they did have a lot of terms and phrases that were peculiar to Suffolk, and of course that's quite a wide area. You know, there were phrases in West Suffolk that weren't necessarily known in East Suffolk or South Suffolk, and so on. But we have a particular interest in sort of looking them up, and some of them, very interestingly, are still used. They were talked about in 1823 when the book was first published as being old, or kind of there was concern that they were no longer being used. But particularly, we've gone for the ones that we don't think are that obvious, and the word we've chosen is shiver. Shiver. And there is a lot of people, let me tell you, an awful lot of people, considerable amount, who believe that the word shiver relates to a splinter. And I'm sure, you know what, you must be right, but not in this context, So I'm going to actually read you what Edward Moore says the word shiver means or meant in Suffolk. Okay. And he says, this is not an uncommon word in Suffolk. We use it somewhat singularly and quaintly and hyperbolically, not to say poetically. It's a lot of words, in the sense of a piece. A boy will say, "Come give us a shiver of a cake," or that loaf. And I rather think that in strictness, the fragment would be broke, not cut off. Sliver is nearly the same. Shakespeare uses the word, or one closely cognates, in the sense of cut, which I guess maybe is where most people know the word shiver, meaning splinter. In the book, he says, I cannot refrain from quoting at needless length the passage in which it occurs, which I won't do. And he says the last line of that has given rise to a proverb, or was once derived, which Ray, who's a contemporary writer of his, or contemporary at that time, has preserved. Very significant. So yeah, shiver in this sense means a small piece, usually in reference to a bit of food, cake or a loaf. There you go. Words nice. You never knew you needed to know.
Yeah. Okay. So we should just stress a slice, a piece of food.
Food. Yeah. Food. Okay. So look, we're kind of nearing the end in many senses, and I wonder if Paul's got one more song up his sleeve.
I have got one more. Yes, if you wouldn't mind loading up a Rogues Shanty Chorus number called one of the brand new ones since lockdown started. Running. No, we did this right at the end. Running down to Cuba.
I think we did just at the end.
We just squeezed it in on one of our last actual physical sessions that we met with people.
Oh, yeah, we did. Absolutely. Yeah. So this is a great song. There's a few versions out there which are wonderful. Harry Belafonte does a great version. How could he not? The Kingston Trio as well. And Paul does too.
No. Before we do that, I'm just going to say one last time, thank you so much to everybody for joining in. Thank you for all the comments that you add to the thread. It makes it much more enjoyable for us to know that you're out there and engaging with us. Thank you to anybody that shared this. We really value the shares, even afterwards. So if you're going back and watching any part of this again, perhaps the wonderful step dancing that Fiona treated us to, then please, when you do, please click share. We'd really, really be grateful of it. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, we're most grateful to People's Health Trust for the funding that they've provided to us to continue these sessions online, and to make sure that everybody still feels engaged and still feels connected with us and us with you during these times. It's still strange times, and hopefully we'll all emerge stronger from it. Marion Bouchard, thanks for the music and fellowship. Well, fellowship is a lovely word, and one in which I think Stephen and I would both echo. So thank you very much. Okay, so this is number 56 by the look of it. We're bound to Cuba for a load of sugar. If you could sing with us, "Way Me Boys for Cuba," and then I'll sing "We'll Make a Run, You Lime Juice Squeezer." "Running Down to Cuba" is your line, and then put the two together. "Way Me Boys for Cuba, running down to Cuba." Don't forget the stamps on Cuba. I will forget the stamps, Michelle. I'm absolutely reliant on you to do it, and everybody else, please do. Running down to Cuba, stamp. Running down to Cuba. It really needs that. It puts a lot into it, and you feel free to put in the odd "hey" or "woo" kind of thing. Would go well. We're bound to Cuba for a load of sugar. Away, me boys, to Cuba. We'll make her run you lines, you squeeze her running down to Cuba. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Hey, running down to Cuba. Running down to Cuba with a press of sail. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Slinging the water over the rail. Running down to Cuba. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Running down to Cuba. Oh, good Lord, how the winds do blow. Way, me boys, for Cuba. And our old man, he cracks on so. Running down to Cuba. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Hey, running down to Cuba. I got a sister 9 foot tall. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Sleeps in the kitchen with her feet in the hall. Running down to Cuba. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Running down to Cuba. I got a gal and her name is Jane. Way, me boys, for Cuba. You can guess where she give me pain. Running down to Cuba. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Running down to Cuba. Give me a gal can dance fandango. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Round like a melon and sweet as a mango. Running down to Cuba. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Hey, running down to Cuba. Running down, me bucko boys. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Let's all haul and make some noise. Running down to Cuba. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Hey, running down to Cuba. Loading sugar on the homeward go. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Oh, Mr. Maid, he told me so. Running down to Cuba. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Ho, running down to Cuba. Way, me boys, for Cuba. Running down to Cuba.
Paul, sounded like you broke a string at the end there.
No, I didn't. I might have broken a nail. I'm having awful problems with my fingers at the moment.
Oh, okay. Nasty. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're just going to say, I'm just going to add to that. Thanks one more time. As Paul said, a couple of comments there. Maggie Clark, we displayed some through the song. Thank you for another lovely evening. Michelle Gallagher, wonderful evening. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Without you watching, we're just, you're just doing nothing really, aren't we? But I do need to mention as well that next Monday, there is no history session with Ivan Bunn, and these have become extremely popular, really, really popular, picking up some wonderful audiences, both live and on Watch Again. And they generally every Monday, I think we've done 5 maybe, but there is not one next week. So we're back on the 6th of July. Okay. If you want to kind of come along on the page next Monday, then you can do. And all you need to do then is watch one of his previous ones, because there's some fantastic stuff up there, including he's just done a 2-part series of the Trial of the Lowestoft Witches. And that's Ivan Bunn. He's a Lowestoft-based historian, author, and live-in legend. Wonderful guy. Fantastic amount of knowledge of Lowestoft, Suffolk, Waveney, and particularly the witch trials of Lowestoft and much further beyond. And he's written books that considered the world authority and taken into universities on the witch trials. So do check him out on Watch Again, and we'll be back with him in not next Monday, but the following Monday. So I think that's all we need to say, Paul, isn't it?
Yep, that's all for now. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Lovely to see you all. Can't wait to see you all next week.